All right, we're back again. I probably will keep this down so we can hear me better this time. We're in the cold plunge again. I noticed in the video last time how my cognitive ability kind of diminished trying to do my videos. Usually I just wing through them, but it's like I couldn't remember the Chimaev Whitaker fight when I was trying to go over that pay-per-view. Well, we're going to try again. It really helps distract me from the environment I'm in. I am in 47-degree water, I think, and that might not sound cold, but when you start talking about pressure, the pressure of water is much different than air. So I do feel like my body has adapted very well right now. Like right now, I can tell I'm in cool water, but I've gained my breath back and everything where the first... Man, when you just jump in and sit, dude, it's hard. But I want to talk a little bit about just some fundamental stuff with striking because I'm looking forward to Carlos Prates this weekend. He is fighting Neil Magny at UFC Fight Night. I don't know what number. But so the last fight Prates had was on the pay-per-view. I think O'Malley fought Merab on. Do I have that? I'm not sure. It was a pay-per-view, though, and he fought Li Jinglang. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Li ain't no joke. Prates did something that I preach and I try to create in the very beginning. If I start someone fresh with fighting, like they've never fought before, the first things I try to instill in someone is changing their perspective on looking at the fight and making it a game, and that's to deal with angality, which is a word I created, and then also to use their vision. And you can, when I'm observing fights a lot, so say I'm watching UFC or One or Bellator or PFL or a local show, you can quickly tell who has their vision almost by where they hold their hands. And something a lot of people do in the beginning of learning to train, once they kind of get the idea of, oh, I got to keep my hands up, they keep them up so much that it blinds their vision because we'll have 16-ounce gloves on or just boxing gloves instead of MMA, and it blinds a lot of their vision. So I really put an emphasis on people at the beginning locking in on keeping your eyes on the opponent's chin or your partner, whatever you want to call it. There's more than one reason for that. One's obviously so you see what you're going to hit, and that's usually what I'm trying to explain to people. But another is so that you see what's coming towards you. And another that I've yet to really touch on in my videos or with people because I feel like I haven't kind of evolved anyone past this is you're reading their body language. Now, I was really excited. I was watching some YouTube of Sean Strickland training, and Hazmat was there, and so was Chris Curtis, a couple guys from PFL. You know, it was a gym full of killers. And at the end of the practice, one guy's kind of like picking Sean's brain. He's asking for pointers, asking for advice in striking. And Sean uses an analogy of a baseball pitcher in the Major League Baseball throwing like 100-mile-per-hour curveball, fastball, whatever it is. He says, and I didn't expect this level of intelligence from Sean or depth, not to say he's dumb or anything. That's not what I mean. But he talks about how the human eye literally can't process that ball. So the batter has to read body language and start swinging before they even find the ball. And I've never played a lot of baseball. I assume Sean knows what he's talking about with that. I don't know if that's actually true, but that makes a lot of sense to me. Something I benefit from when I am fighting and I keep my eyes up, keep my eyes on their chin, is I am reading their body language. Not only is it easy to see stuff like tells, like every time before they throw a cross, they bring their hand like that. Or they wind up on their kick. Those are the obvious things. Those are the things we learn in the first year or two of fighting and we start picking up on. There's other things that we pick up on that I'm still not at a point where I feel like I can articulate it because I've never heard it articulated. But you can pick up on when someone has doubt, when someone starts getting discouraged, when someone is feeling confident, when someone is having fun, and you can... So say you pick up on someone, this is how I have to utilize it as a coach or at practice. I get them having fun before I ever try to do anything back to them. I get them throwing punches Sometimes they get to feeling overconfident. If they're throwing overconfident and start throwing harder, then I approach it a little differently. But if they get a little overconfident and they're throwing a bunch of punches at a good range for practice, I'm just going to touch them in the face. But say they keep throwing them and keep throwing at a high volume, but not a malicious intent. So they're being a good partner and they're trying things, but they're throwing so many punches that their hands are coming down a lot. I'm going to touch them like 3 times. But say I touch them 5 times and I sense that they get discouraged because that one really sunk in. It like registers to them. Dang, this guy just hit me 5 times in the span of 1 second. And I've spent the last 2 minutes throwing 100 punches and I haven't landed any. You can see that in them. And I wish I could articulate that in a very specific way. It's not necessarily the head down or the eyes down. Maybe it's the way someone holds their face, but it's very, 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 very obvious to me, at least. And so if I pick up on someone I'm training doing that, then I start giving them my face to tap. I'm wearing my headgear and I let them find their confidence again, find a way to win. But I want to go back to the idea of keeping your eyes up. So keeping your eyes up and you're a trained fighter and you're in a competitive fight, you're going to pick up on so much subconsciously. And I used this reference once as like, say a running back makes an outstanding play in the Super Bowl and it's 50 years later and they go back and they interview the running back and the running back goes over that play. He's going to be able to talk for 15 minutes about a play that lasted 20 seconds. He's going to talk about this shift and this detail that be like, well, earlier in the game, I knew that the turf was getting pretty torn up here, so I knew I wanted to plant off this foot and not the right side because over on the right sideline, the turf's really been torn up, so I'd probably slip there. And I also knew that Rod, the defender, that was going to try to make that tackle, he's known for diving, and if I can slip him once, I got an open field. All of that thought did not process in an articulate manner during the play through that player's head. But I'm not going to say the thoughts weren't there. But all those words and explanation, that's not there during the live play. That sudden step and juke that takes 0.5 of a second, you can't process 1,000 words of thought in making that play. It's a lot of subconscious behavior in recognizing patterns in the game, whether it's the game of football or the game of fighting, whatever it may be. I'm trying to think. So I'm approaching 8 minutes on the video. I think I was in here for about 2 minutes getting my breath and everything before I started. So I'm at the 10-minute mark, but I want to go a little bit more. So with Pratez, I'm really excited to see him. There's a couple fighters that I have my eye on that are up and coming. Peyton Talbot is one. I believe his name was Mario Blackwater or Blackwell, and he was on Dana White's Contender Series. Carlos Pratez is one. And there's another one. Mauricio Rufy. I think he's fighting on the John Jones card. But these guys are strikers that are using their eyes quickly. I'm going to be honest. Nasser Dean, who it's rumored to be fighting Israel, he's showing that he's using his eyes, but he's taking a little while to get there. He knows how to use his eyes when the fight gets going, but knowing how to use your eyes going forward and knowing how to use them when you're going backwards and knowing when to do each other is a whole nother level of using your eyes. I feel like the best display of it I have seen is from Mauricio Rufy. But Pratez showed it against Lee, and Lee is a killer. Rufy hasn't faced someone of the talent Lee is, so Pratez gets a little extra leeway. Peyton Talbot hasn't had enough fight for me to break everything down. Like when he's knocking a guy out on his second punch, 16 seconds into the fight, like there's always so much I get to break down from him. You know what I mean? But, I'm starting to shiver now. Yeah, I'm definitely past that 10-minute mark. All right. Anyways, Pratez and Neil Magny this weekend. I'm going to be rooting for Pratez, but I respect Neil Magny. That's a vet. Neil Magny could absolutely do like he did to Mike Malott, where Carlos could win the first 2 rounds dominantly and make one mistake in the third, and if Neil gets him on the ground, Neil might be the one to just ground and pound him for a finish, just like he did to Mike. But my pick right now, I'm picking Carlos Pratez. We got Cody Garbrandt on the co-main this weekend, and I don't remember who he's fighting. I wish I had looked that up. I got a heart for Cody. Like, the way he did Dom was unbelievable. The Dominic Cruz fight was just spectacular. Even his fights with TJ Dillashaw were spectacular until the moment where it goes out of his way. You know what I mean? I would have rather seen him come up and wait than go down. We'll see how it keeps going. But yeah, I'm going to end this here. This is where I'm going to get out of the tub and everything like that. I'm going to shut the camera off so that I don't drop it in the water. Y'all have a good one. This is Concepts with Kimbler. Big time players make big time plays. We're in the cold plunge, getting cold, recovering, and we'll be back at practice 10 a.m. tomorrow.